Welcome to our show, Ask Your Doctor. I'm your host, Shivani Raj. So, for today's show, we have Dr. Ravi Iyer. Dr. Ravi Iyer is an internal medicine doctor who practices adult medicine from patients from 14 years to 114 years. He was born in Mumbai and was brought up in Jamshedpur and did his MBBS from Pune. He now majorly practices in one of the most wealthiest counties in USA. This is primarily due to very high concentration of highly educated and skilled knowledge worker population in the area, about 30% being Asian. The Iyer Clinic has been delivering care to the South Asian community for nearly 26 years. And since 2013, for the last 11 years, it has been running very successfully. Nearly 80% of the patients are South Asian. So, without any further delay, let's welcome Dr. Iyer to our show. Hello, doctor. I hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Shivani. Yes, we are. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, Dr. Iyer, I was hoping, can you introduce a little about what you do to our viewers watching the show right now?
I'm an internist, an internal medicine doctor. We practice adult internal medicine. The Iyer Clinic is part of a large medical group called Loudon Medical Group. And we are a primary care practice, and we operate clinics in 3 locations in Herndon, in Stone Springs, Aldi, and in Sterling. Been in practice since 1996 in this area. The Iyer Clinic has been pretty successful. We've gotten top doctor awards for every year since 2013. And we primarily treat the concerns and problems of adult population from anywhere from 14 years to well over 100 years. My oldest patient is about 104. The large number of patients in this area are South Asians. About 80% of my practice comes from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, with almost a large proportion from South India, Telangana, Tamil, Kannadiga, and then North India, of course. So that's basically what we do. And I'm happy to be here on the show.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful having you on our show too. So, Dr. Iyer, can you talk a little about, what all treatments you do in the clinic? Like, what are some major problems that your clinic, you yourself deal with the patients?
Everyday problems like cough, cold, flu is a everyday problem. But in addition to that, we have a very strong diabetes and cardiac disease management program. We do our own stress tests and echocardiograms in the clinic. We are able to manage the patients' diabetes. We have a program called 6 and 6, which basically has been very successful in getting patients to close to non-diabetic levels within 6 months of being diagnosed by very, very aggressive management of their diet, exercise with very minimal medications also. We are a very strong believer in helping patients understand why they are diabetic. We help them change their behavior. Cardiac disease is a big problem in our area. Every year, I've been a doctor for 40 years now, almost. Next year will be my 40th year. And in 40 years, every year, I have signed a death certificate on somebody below the age of 50 who has died of a heart attack. And in 40 years, that person has never, ever been someone who is not South Indian. Always, the person who's getting a heart attack and dying below the age of 50, in my practice, in my life as a physician, has been somebody who's a Tamilian or somebody who's from Telangana. So these populations are extremely, extremely high risk for developing cardiac disease. So that's something that we are very passionate about, and we are very aggressive in managing.
So, doctor, we did have a call yesterday, and we were talking about how you did also mention about why there is such a high rate of death especially for South Asians than comparatively to the North Asians. So let's get on to the topic right now. We did discuss that we were going to talk about heart diseases mainly. So doctor, what are some of the most common issues or diseases that people come to you, and especially South Asians?
In the South Asian population, the biggest problem is obesity and diabetes. And because of that, you have cardiac disease. South Asians by culture are habituated to a diet that is very, very carbohydrate rich. They have a culture that is activity averse, that is, and they have a culture that enables them to become very successful and in life and acquire all the necessary things of wealth. So these three combinations, a diet, a habit of always being rich in carbs, uh, an ability to acquire all the finer things in life because of education and their general focus on intellectual activities, and a natural avoidance of anything physical puts them at a solid severe risk of developing obesity and diabetes and cardiac disease. So this is by far and most the biggest problem that we have in the US. Here in Loudoun County and Fairfax County, the two wealthiest counties in the US, we have a huge population of people from South India, whether they are from Telangana or Tamil. And all of them are in the upper 1%, upper 2 to 3% of income earners. They all are living in very wealthy, successful lives, which is very nice to see. But what the tragedy is that they all suffer from aggressive cardiac problems, as that really causes them to suffer very early cardiac events below the age of 50. And just recently, a few months ago, 3 or 4 people below the age of 50 all passed away because of sudden heart attacks, and makes a big problem for the community.
Yes. So, doctor, why do you think there's a high rate of heart diseases or heart issues, especially for the South Asian community out there?
Two or three factors. One, the blood vessels that supply the heart in South Asian population generally, they are narrow. So the pipe that provides blood to the heart is a small pipe. So when you have a small pipe, it does not take much to block it. It's like, let's say you have a pipe that is this fat and another pipe that is only this big. How much mud do you need to put in this pipe to make it completely blocked versus how much mud do you need to put it in a pipe that is only this big? Very little, right? So what happens is South Asian populations, they have narrow blood vessels, and these narrow blood vessels can get blocked even with normal or slightly elevated cholesterol profile. So what happens is these people go around, they go to the doctor. Oh, doctor, let me have a cholesterol check. Oh, your cholesterol check? Oh, your cholesterol is not very bad. It is okay. Oh, fine. I don't want to take any medicine then. I can do diet and exercise. But guess what? That little extra cholesterol is enough to block the narrow pipe that you have supplying your heart. So these people get cardiac disease even when their cholesterol is not that high. That's number one. Number two, their habit of eating a rice-based diet. Everything is idli, dosa, rice in all 4 meals. Rice is a highly toxic food. It is it's a high energy food. If you are consuming a high energy food with a low energy life, you cannot expect to be healthy. You are having if you consider food is nothing more than compressed energy. So when you are consuming a high energy food, consider that like you're consuming fire. If you are consuming fire and you don't have the ability to manage that fire properly, that fire is going to end up burning you. So The one big thing that a South Indian can do is to cut down his carb consumption and focus a lot more on green vegetables. Everyone wants to go and drink fruit juices instead of green vegetables, but actual green vegetables and avoidance of carbs, nuts, and roots, which is anything that grows under the ground. So your potatoes, beetroot, sweet potato, yam, taro, tapioca, bananas, your carrots and radish, they are all high in carbs simply because they grow under the ground. So these are the things that you want to avoid or keep it under very tight control. The third thing is South Asians do not exercise. If a typical Saturday evening in a South Asian family is the wife will call 10 people for dinner. They will cook for 30 people. They are all in a house with a 1 acre lot, basketball court, tennis court, swimming pool, but no one ever goes and plays on the court. All the men will stand in one side, talk about stocks, real estate, and what property they are buying in India. All the women here are talking jewelry and wearing, comparing dresses. Everyone is eating and no one exercises. This is the culture of South India. Whether it is Tamil Nadu or it is Telangana, everyone has the same issue. Total aversion to exercise. This lack of physical activity, because all the population only use the part of their body that is above the neck. Everyone is using only their brains. They don't use the rest of their body. And that puts them at serious risk for cardiac disease. The third thing is fundamental lack of understanding of what medications can really do. Every patient that I have will come and tell me, Doc, can you reduce my cholesterol naturally? Can I do something natural? Somehow natural means it is better. Oh, if I tell them I want to give you a cholesterol medicine. No, I don't want cholesterol medicine. Give me something natural. Give me some herb. Give me some Dabur Chyawanprash, something like that. So this attitude of naturality is killing them unnaturally. So that is the issue. I mean, you wanted to know, these are the reasons. So when I work with my patients, I actually sit and work with their behavior. I talk to them about their behavior, what choices they make. Why do they make those choices? How can they change the way they reward themselves? Like they'll come, I have patients, they'll come, they are 20, 30 pounds overweight. And, you know, they don't consider 30 pounds overweight as overweight. They consider that prosperous.
They'll be like, oh, it's just a little.
Just a little. 30 pounds is lethal. People don't realize that. And I tell them, listen, first you have to eat. You're right now carrying 3 months supply of food around your belly. First eat from that plate before you eat from this plate.
Yeah.
So these are the things that is actually, so in our clinic, what we do is we actually get them. We put them on programs where they can monitor their own blood sugar, where they come back. I have patients who come on a weight management program. Every month they'll come and we celebrate just two pounds. If you can get 2 pounds off, fine. Every pound that you get off is a huge, 1 pound means 100,000 miles less blood supply that you need to pump. So 1 pound of fat contains 100,000 miles of capillaries, blood vessels. There is 100,000 miles that your heart has to pump. So when you lose 5 pounds, you have given your heart 500,000 miles less to pump. People don't look at their own body like that in that sense. They don't realize that. But once you realize that, you'll feel. I have had patients who come and they lose 5-10 pounds and they say, doc, my knees don't hurt anymore. My back doesn't hurt anymore. So by just weight management, not only is your heart getting better, you sleep better, you get up with more bounce in your, more energy. You are able to walk. No longer does your feet hurt, your knees hurt, because all those parts of the body are carrying that excess weight every day.
But doctor, Instagram right now is like one of the top. Every Gen Z, every millennial is on it, and there is this one specific post that came up last week, and it got really viral. It was how young people, like below 25, they were from 21 to 25. These people are getting heart attacks and they're collapsing right there and dying right there. Like some of them are healthy, some of them are not. But can you tell us why now the heart risk for young people is also very high, especially for South Asians?
The same issues, the tendency of young people have lives that are not physical activity based, basically the digital life, where all your interactions are between you and a particular screen, whether you're holding the screen in your phone or you're sitting in front of the screen on your laptop, but your entire life is based on an interaction between you and an inanimate object. That is number one. Number two, the very huge rise of processed foods in our life. People don't eat normal fresh foods anymore. Everything is being extracted out of a packet or a can and then rewarmed or minimally processed in a cooking environment, because everyone wants to compress more. See, you have 24 hours, and in those 24 hours you don't want to spend time in the kitchen creating a very nice meal from scratch. Everything is, let's minimize the amount of time that we have at the kitchen. Let's rush off and have more time to play or fun or party. So this fundamental change in the way you live life is in conflict with the genetics of your life. The genetics that you are born requires you to live in a particular way, and you're living life outside of that. So consider the way you were born, your body as the operating manual, and you are running your vehicle outside of its operating manual. You're going to have breakdowns. Sometimes the breakdowns happen young, sometimes the breakdowns happen late, but regardless, the breakdown is happening at a much higher rate as we go along in these years.
Yes. So, doctor, according to you, what are some of the tests, and how can someone check themselves to see if they are, having a heart disease, or maybe, are at the risk for heart diseases? And are there any tests that you can recommend or suggest to people watching the show right now?
Yes. So there are a few things. I would break it into three categories. The first category is normal health evaluations that are absolutely mandatory for everyone, and that is you have to have a relationship with one doctor who is your doctor. You cannot just go to the doctor when you fall sick. You need to have an ongoing relationship with one doctor, whatever it is. So, but you need to have some doctor that you can say, he is my primary doctor. Have that relationship, because that doctor will know everything that is to be known about you. That's number one. Have one physical every year. You need to have a proper physical. In that physical, in India they call it the master health checkup. In the US we call it physical. It doesn't matter. You need to have it every year. Once a year, you absolutely have to have it. Regardless of whether you are at risk for heart disease or not, everyone should get it. In that, you need to check your risk for diabetes, your hemoglobin A1C, your cholesterol, your blood counts, your kidney function. Once you get these basic parameters, then you can do certain additional risks for just cardiac disease and diabetes. Every South Asian, if your body mass index is higher than 22, you need to start seriously thinking about weight reduction. Don't wait until your BMI is 30, which is obesity. You are overweight, and do not wait until it is about 25, which is overweight. If you are more than 22 and you are South Asia, see, these BMI scores were made for white Caucasian population. That ethnic population has a greater margin of error. South Asians are at risk at even slightly above ideal BMI. Ideal BMI is 20. If you are at 22, you are at risk. You don't have to wait till you're 25. Why? Because your blood vessels are narrower, more easy to get blocked. That is number one. So if you're about 22, you need to start focusing on weight reduction. All right, your BMI. Now, third thing is seriously look at how you can reduce your carbs and increase your protein. If you are pure vegetarian, use whey protein, which is a milk protein. Use whey protein and please eat green vegetables. Avoid nuts, avoid grains. Everyone wants to eat oats. You know what they do? Oats is a high energy food. You give it to horses to run. You know, thoroughbreds, race horses are given oats. Why? Because it's high energy. You don't want to take oats. Everyone will want to take oats. So these are things that people need to understand. Add green vegetables, stay away from roots, stay away from fried foods, and focus instead on increasing protein. Activity. You don't need to run a race mile. If you start walking 3 miles a day, you know, if you want to exercise, is not the intensity of the exercise, it is the sustainability of exercise that matters. Choose an activity that you can enjoy and choose something that you can do even when you are 90 years old. Because what happens is, let's say you start the habit of running. You'll run when you're 20, you can run 30, you can run 40, you can run 50, you can run. When you're 60, running hurts. Your knees hurt, your hips hurt. If you have developed a habit of running as a means of enjoying yourself, and at 60 you can't run, you will not suddenly start walking. You will stop running and you will stop exercising. You won't do anything else. See, so what you should do is, while you're young, develop a method of physical activity that you can do even when you're old. If you ask yourself what you can do when you're 90 years old, you can only do 3 things. You can swim, you can bicycle, and you can run or walk. These are the only 3 activities a 90-year-old can do. Now, out of those 3 activities, 2 of them require special equipment. For swimming, you need a clean body of water. You need a lake, you need a pond, you need a swimming pool. All right. For biking, you need good roads and you need a bicycle. But walking, you just need legs. And you can walk, you can walk on roads, you can walk off roads, you can walk on hilly terrain, you can walk on rocky ground, you can walk anywhere. So by far, walking is the one activity that you can carry even when you are up to 95, 98 years old. My father is 94 years old. He still walks half a mile. He can walk even now. He's 94 years old. He dresses himself. He can go into the bathroom, do his basic work, and then come back, and he's able to do all that. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Remain physically active even now, and develop an activity that you can do into your old age.
Yeah. So, doctor, what according to you are some cultural activities that that must shift from the Indian community for a better health and better life?
Shift your way of enjoying and showing affection from food to physical activity. Women, stop trying to show your affection through cooking meals. Start showing affection and connection with people through physical engagement. Walk with your spouse, walk with your family, go to the gym with your family, don't go to the mall with your family. So these are, if you shift your activity, the things you do that are focus, how you connect with people, shift them from uh, oral activity to some physical activity. That's number one. Go to your physician, make sure you get yourself tested frequently for basic health needs. If you are approaching the age of 40 or over 40, get yourself a stress test. Get yourself, have your physician check your cardiac risk. There are tests available, things like CT angiogram, coronary calcium score. If you are obese, get your total cardiac risk assessed. In our clinic, we do something called an autonomic dysfunction evaluation. We do tests for checking your overall risk for sudden cardiac death. There are a number of ways. There is no single test that is good. Everyone, I have so many patients who come and say, "Oh, can I come and do this test or that test?" Like, can I? Right now, the big craze is getting the calcium score. The calcium score is not a one test for everyone. There are many patients in the South Asian community who are at high risk for heart disease with a normal calcium score. So you need more than a single test for a full assessment. Bottom line, management of cardiac risk and reduction of your diabetic risk is not a one size fits all. It's a total program and it's a total shift in the way you live.
Finally, doctor, you have a couple of minutes, but I was hoping, can you give a final suggestion or advice to a lot of actually our main viewers are South Asian people. So anything that you want to say to them?
South Asian population in the US is among the most successful, privileged populations. And it is nothing is more tragic than when somebody who has succeeded in life become so prosperous and so wealthy suddenly has a catastrophic life changing event and leaves behind young wife and small children because they didn't take care of themselves properly. I have seen the devastation that happens in young when somebody dies in their 45, 50 years old and they still have a 12 or 14-year-old child and a wife who's still in the late 30s or early 40s. It is heartbreaking to see that. And all that was required is every day take half an hour to go for a walk. Every day, in every meal, get up feeling a little hungry. Don't eat all the way till you're full. Get up just a little hungry. Take an extra bite of a green vegetable instead of a samosa, instead of a dosa. Stop going to all the South Indian restaurants. Cook more at home. These are all the things that need. That's all. Once you do it, it's you have so much wealth to enjoy. Enjoy it by traveling. Go for a hike. That is much better than all the other activities that you want to get in. That's all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iyer, for coming on to our show. It was actually a very interesting show. I did enjoy a lot. I hope the viewers did enjoy too. Thank you again for joining our show. Thank you for the viewers for tuning in. You're watching Sakshi TV with me, Shivani Raj.